Okay, good afternoon, and we're back in the media center here at the World Center of Racing, Daytona International Speedway. Joining us right now is Kevin Harvick. He drives the number 29 Budweiser Folds of Honor.org Ream Chevrolet for Richard Childress Racing. Obviously, Kevin is a Daytona 500 winner and had some success here at this big super speedway. Talk about coming back now, second time to super speedway, and obviously it'll be the third time. We've done restrictor plate racing this year. We've seen that evolve a little bit. Talk about that, and how do you kind of outlook for this weekend?
Yeah, it's kind of been interesting to see the progression of the way that the rules have gone. I think this is probably the least amount that they've changed since we've gone to this particular rules package. So hopefully we've done a little bit better on our cooling system this time, and we can push things a little bit harder on the racetrack. And on the racetrack, it's kind of been a split 50-50 as to how the races have wound up. So it's been not too bad. I always say you have 50-50 chance of having a good day, and usually if you finish, you have a good day on these particular tracks.
Very good. We'll take questions now. We have one wireless mic. Let's get over here let's hit Pockrass first. That's on your way. And then we'll go to George, and then up here to Mike. Go ahead, Bob.
Bob Pockrass, Sporting News. When trying to decide who to work with at the end of the race, do you go with friends or people you trust, or the person that your car seems to work the best with?
It's pretty much impossible to work all that out at this particular point, just because of the way that the cooling goes. So it's kind of like it used to be. It's kind of every man for himself, and if you're first, then you work with the guy that's behind you, and if you're second, you push the guy that's in front of you.
Let's go right there to George, then we'll go to Mike, and down here to Jeff Dwight. Go ahead, George.
Yeah, Kevin, George Diaz with the Orlando Sentinel. Bruton Smith recently suggested that maybe throwing out some cautions to break up the long green flag runs. What's your take on that idea?
Same guy ruined Bristol.
Okay, let's go over here to Mike Embry. To the left.
Kevin, you mentioned team mistakes and that sort of thing. How do you work through those? Is it a sit-down meeting kind of thing, or you just go to one individual and say we need to pick this up or that up? Kind of what's the process to try to get better?
Yeah, obviously we have to get better. We've worked through the pit crew stuff. We've worked through the qualifying stuff. We've fixed some problems that we felt like we needed to get better on from the previous years, and those two scenarios are definitely better than they've been in several years. I think as we move towards the next 9 weeks, we basically got 9 weeks to try to secure our space in the chase, and 9 weeks to fix the mistakes and make up some ground on the performance side. Oh, Delana's here. Yeah, she's about 2 weeks away, so she's feeling uncomfortable, but she's done really good with it. So it's a little nerve-wracking at this point, but we just go off what the doctor says and move forward.
Let's go to Dwight, and then back in the corner to Ken Willis.
Dwight from RaceStake.com. Kevin, Austin went his here earlier and said he was playing basketball with you, and it kind of reminded everybody that he won the last game. But could you talk a little bit about that kind of camaraderie you have with the Dillons, and actually my main reason for asking the question is that I always noticed that those guys got awfully good upbringing and are well grounded, and I'd just like your comment on that.
Well, they are very well grounded, and I think as you see them come up through the ranks. I'm a little bit closer to Austin than Ty, just because he's been around longer. But you listen and you watch and you see the things that he recognizes, and when you think about it, I mean, those kids have been around racing their whole life, and Austin is just one of those kids that he could go and do anything he wanted to do, but he's, this is what he wants to do. He puts a full effort into it, and he's getting the results out of it that he puts into it. So, but as far as the basketball games go, we got to let him win every once in a while. We do have fun though.
Go back to Kevin back there, and then we'll go right over here. I'm a Kevin. Ken, I'm sorry. Audience slept there.
Just to clarify, to back up a few questions, was Bristol ruined originally, or with this latest renovation to put it back to the way it was?
Originally, it was great. It was our most popular race.
Okay, but now that it's supposedly
I haven't
going back
seen
to
it.
the...
I haven't seen it. It's not going back to anything. All I've heard is they polished one lane.
And how do you see, other than the obvious, you're at night, it's Daytona in July, do you see this race looking dramatically different than the Talladega race did, or roughly the same, or just how do you see it?
Well, this race is obviously, the spoilers are still really small in the back of these cars, and I think, we haven't had really any handling issues, but I think if that side of it's going to rear its head here, I would think it would be here, just with the temperatures and the way that the cars could slide around a little more. We don't anticipate that, but it could happen. But this race is a lot different than Talladega, just because there's not as much room to move around. So you have to press a little bit harder to keep your track position, to keep yourself in position towards the end.
Right here, go ahead.
Kevin, Bill Kim, NASCAR.com. Kind of a couple questions. One, you had mentioned earlier about trying to just kind of lock your way into the chase now. How do you do that? Is it go for victories? Are you at a point where you don't have to worry about points so much and you can really kind of get those bonus points with the wins? Or do you still focus just on, top 10, and let the victories come where they may? And then a second one, following up on the baby question, do you have a backup this week? Who is it? And kind of what's the process that goes into picking that backup for you?
Yeah, we don't have any backups. I think as you look towards, the next 9 weeks, for us, we're trying to avoid big mistakes and giving away big chunks of points. And, the winning side of it, you can't force those things. As you go through the years, you understand that the more you try to force situations, the worse the results get. So those things go in cycles. Last year we had some things go our way, and we won some races, and we won a couple that were circumstances, and the circumstances that we've had this year haven't gone that particular direction. So it's just something where you ride the waves and you try not to let the lulls tear everything down, and as you're in the highs, you enjoy them.
Other questions for Kevin? Raise your hand and we'll get to you. Claire's got one, please.
Claire B. Lang, Sirius XM NASCAR Radio. You're such a driven person that week to week, as your team is, and I talked to your crew chief last week, getting back on track. It's sort of like with a number of the teams, because perfection is, where you got to be, you're never satisfied. But where exactly do you think your team falls right now? Where do you think you're at?
I think as much as we've complained about the results and the way things have gone, we still have to remember that we still have a good chance to make the chase, sitting sixth in the points with a fairly good sized point gap over 11th. So we don't need to go out and do anything crazy. So we've complained a lot about needing to get the cars better, but we've done okay at salvaging while things haven't been where we think they need to be. So we have to keep fixing things. I feel like I said, the pit crew is doing a great job. We fixed the qualifying side of it, and now we just got to we're consistent, but we're not consistently where we need to be in being able to win a couple races here and there. So that's the main focus right now, is to just get a little bit of speed out of the cars and be prepared and not screw up over the next 9 weeks.
Any other questions for Kevin? Kevin, thank you for coming in. Good luck this weekend at Daytona.
Thanks.